Hey everybody, it's Laurie Blomer here, and it is Sunday, July 6, 2025, and I'm back for this week's card for spiritual reflection and spiritual inspiration. Took a little break last weekend when I went out of town and had a little vacay, so I'm back, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to pull inspiration from cards. Love working with cards. So if you've been following along, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. Almost every week, I like to pull a card for spiritual reflection and spiritual inspiration. I typically pull it on a Sunday, post it on a Monday, and I pull the card, and then all I do is send a photo of the card to Heather Coletti, my friend who's a life coach, who is a philosopher and an astrologer. And Heather goes off and does her own thing looking at the card in the context of what's going on astrologically. And I work with a card right here, real time, to sort of share what jumps out to me intuitively for inspiration and self-reflection for the week. I like to call it a helpful lens through which to observe the week's experiences for the purpose of spiritual growth, spiritual inspiration, and also just becoming a better human being. So it's helpful if you want to get that astrological perspective and some additional thoughts from me to sign up for my mailing list, because typically when I sit down to write it, even more things have come to me. So what's on the video is not going to mirror exactly what is on my little write-up there in the mailer. And again, on the video, it won't include Heather's perspective too. So I really encourage you to sign up for that. I work with whatever deck is I feel sort of inspired or pulled to work with. So this week I decided to go back to the Sacred Creators Oracle. It's a 67 card deck by someone who identifies himself as Chris Ann, but it's mainly words. And I'm kind of a words person. And I just felt, I don't know, it's funny, in my various social media feeds, these sort of inspiring quotes and phrases have been coming up. And I was reminded of the power of words and the power of a really well-crafted sentence or phrase to really get people thinking. So I thought I'd work with that. So again, 67 cards, each with a different phrase. Not a lot of imagery on them, but they do include numbers, so you'll get a look at it. So anyway, I've been shuffling as I've been talking, sort of getting in connected with that intent of pulling a card that will offer not just me inspiration and self-reflection, but anyone who's watching as well. So here it goes. I'll pull a card. I always pull a couple from the middle. It's just what I do. There we go. I'm going to split it with the one that my thumb is on and the one that is the one we'll go with. And it is, in flow with money. Well, now, who wouldn't like to be in flow with money? I'm going to tell you what jumps out to me. First of all, we have a 43 at the bottom. That in numerology, we add the 4 and the 3 together, and we get 7. What is significant about 7? 7 is the number of learning. It's of learning curves, self-reflection. It's not really a number up about materialism, but it is very much about learning and learning the truth of things. So to me, what jumps out to me is this idea of being in good relationship with our relationship with money. Money as a term, as a concept, is very fraught with emotion. We judge people whether they have money or not. We actually stratify our society based on whether or not people have money. And the idea that, I always hear from guides, that it's as easy to get $1 million as it is to get $1 if you can connect energetically with it and be in good relationship with it. Doesn't mean there isn't some hustle involved here in this plane. Doesn't mean that that we don't need to be attuned to opportunities. But I love the idea where so many people feel like, they need to be lucky in order to have wealth. This card reminds me that it's more just kind of being in the flow with it. It has to do with deservability as well. I'm going to just throw a shout out here to people who are in the mind, body, spirit community who have a sort of a mixed relationship with money. Some people don't feel right for charging for their services, even though they're very valuable. People who are involved in spiritual work often feel very guilty about taking money for the work that they do. So I think that might be part of it for some of the people watching as well, is this idea of the fact that I deserve it. And, the thought that why can't I flourish as well, not just survive, but thrive and flourish. And the last thing that jumps out to me right now, again, I'm going to write this up and more will come to me on it, is the idea of saying, and really, in order to be in flow with money, get familiar with it, understand economics, work with a financial advisor, Read up on investments. You know, it's not one of those things that is a necessary evil or something to be intimidated by. Manage it. Count where your pennies are going. You know, track your expenses, track your expenditures, track your habits. I see that as being a really powerful way of just becoming more familiar with how it's coming in, where it's going to, and developing a game plan for savings. So it's funny, when we talk about the esoteric, we don't often get into the material, if you will. And yet we live in the material world, and money is not inherently evil. It does drive an awful lot of bad behavior, I will say, because money is connected to power. But the idea that you can be in good relationship with it, and it's not something to feel like, gosh, if I'm lucky, I'll have some. You can strategize. You can look for opportunities for money. You can also be thinking about, what is my relationship with not holding on to it, but giving it? I think it's one of the real problems that we have today in our current culture. Current world thinking is money is something I need to hold on to and not share. So as in anything else in the world, in our relationships, it's reciprocity. Yes, maybe you need some money, but the idea of saying, where can I take some of it and give back to others? Looking after each other in community, where is money needed? So you might think of a nonprofit or an organization or a person that you really feel merits the financial help. And even if you can just give a little, puts you in good relationship with money. So as you can see, I'm just sort of riffing off the top of my head about what jumps out to me. More will jump out to me as I do my write-up and send that out on Monday. But I encourage you to think about it as well. What's your relationship with money? How do you get in the flow? And let that flow being, again, giving and receiving and sharing. So there you have it. My name's Laurie Blomer. My website is laurieblomer.com. My email address is laurieblomerpsychic@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. Would love to work with you. I hope you have a wonderful, inspired, and week where you are in flow with money, not only as a literal thing, but money as a beautiful metaphor for just abundance in general. May you feel rich in many ways this week. Thanks for watching.